It's a common problem that we want more and more, not knowing which has to come first on our list and which needs to get out of our minds. Today, we discover how desires work and why they are distracting instead of what we expect. After this, your desires won't control you, but only if you be aware of what's going on. Hopefully, you'll be as good as Rumi in mastering this skill and will find your way in life without being distracted by desires after desires. The wind moves without purpose, without direction. Or maybe it carries whispers of thoughts too quiet for the world to hear. I've always wondered, are we just drifting, searching for meaning in the void, or do we create it ourselves? This is Windy Words of Parsa, a quiet space for those who think too much, feel too deeply, and find beauty in the unanswered. Here, we wander through poetry, philosophy, and fleeting moments not to find truth, but to embrace the questions themselves. So stay a while, let's lose ourselves, and maybe in the wind, we'll find something worth holding on to. Or maybe we'll just let it go. Hey, 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 welcome to another episode of Windy Words of Parsa. Today you're seeing something new because, I have changed all the decor set and, everything's totally different today. I kind of hated the previous set we had and it didn't feel anything related to, you know, um, both spare time or philosophy or poems or, it didn't had to do with anything like this. It was just like a gaming setup, which was not good though at the same time. But I really didn't want to being a perfectionist and I didn't change everything for the best at first. I just wanted to start, and later, of course, I am gonna make everything better and change everything for the better. I'm sorry if I look a little bit too much there because this new setup is kind of confusing for me. I kind of find that part distracting because that's my window there, and I don't know why I feel like watching there. Maybe I'm always li- uh, like in the jail here, and I don't go out too much because I have to do a lot of things with my computer and this stuff. Um, I feel like a prisoner who likes to look out the jail and feel what he has lost out of there. Of course, there's nothing outside too. There's nothing inside. There's nothing outside, but still, we as humans tend to like nature. So I changed the podcast setup. Maybe it's better now. Um, I started with creating a different type of mood. I brought a chair here, which was kind of distracting again, and so I had to change the chair again after a while, and I had a lot of reflections on it. And I also asked a lot of friends their ideas, and we had to change the chair again. So this is right now the chair that we have chosen till now. Um, there's also this desk that I wasn't sure of bringing in the scene because it's a little bit short and it doesn't fit so well with the sofa. And then again, the most important thing that bothered me much more than any other thing was book stuff, because I really didn't want to use books because firstly they are overused everywhere, and secondly, I don't think the placement of them fit the scene. And thirdly, which is the most important one, I don't like to flaunt things and, like say, I've read too many books, so look at it. Well, they say if you got it, flaunt it. However, I haven't got it. The fact is that I have not got it. Um, I haven't read too many books to be able to say that I am a great book reader or I am even a good book reader. Uh, Even considering my low age, I haven't read too many books. I don't know, maybe 40, 50 maximum. But I do love researching, and I research on different types of topics that I am interested in. And I do only accept the resources like, well-known universities, researches, and real books written by great people. However, I don't read too many books. And this is the fact that, it was well to mention here because we haven't mentioned it before. Another thing is that I am really hoping that my camera is recording right now because, everything seems weird in this new setup. And then there was the plant that a lot of my friends said that it doesn't fit the scene, which is the only thing I guess that fits the scene. And then we had a lot of problems with the lighting. By we, I mean myself, because I do everything alone here, and it is kind of exhausting and damaging. Um, it's too much, and I don't know what to do with this thing or that thing, and a lot of things. However, I hope you like it. I will try to change it for the better again later, but right now, I guess we have to use this setup for a while and see if, it fits well. This is the best I can do. Oh, and I forgot to mention that today I just wanted to test something out. So I filmed myself like a vlog because, later I do have the desire to make a good YouTube channel. I just wanted to test it out. So I film myself even before this, before starting to hit the record button for the podcast. I was filming myself for the vlog, for the today's vlog I got, and it was kind of a good experience. And because I have heard that a lot of people on YouTube are saying that you should film your boring life, I just wanted to give it a shot. Previously, I always tried to come up with great ideas in my life, and I was kind of creative before, but I never put those ideas into action, and it got me nothing, just being creative and having great ideas. And that's kind of right. If you just have good ideas, who's gonna know even? You literally have to begin doing something, and you have to put effort into doing stuff and creating something, and then wait for the result to come to you. And maybe that time you can have too many different chances if you are lucky. But if you don't do things and you just have the ideas, definitely it's not going to happen to you. And that's for sure. This is a fact that I haven't been able to see before. And lately I've started to see, which kind of really helped me in a lot of areas of my life. And now I decided to do it with content creation for myself, which includes this podcast and the YouTube channel that I'm talking about. Well, talking about desires, today's topic is related to desires, and we will get to that later. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I've seen a lot of people on YouTube are saying that you should film your boring life and blah 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 blah. They said that, of course, somewhere in the world, there are a lot of people who are interested to the things you experience, even if they are boring. And I believe that's kind of true. Of course, there are somewhere in the world who I can find some person that is like me, and maybe we can give each other good feelings um, if I create a film of my life and of the things I do. There's a good point about me, which is I'm too much keen to doing new things and to challenging myself. So, I guess my life isn't that much boring, though it is, in fact. Okay, overall, I just filmed, and I am gonna again film for the vlog today, later, after this podcast. And I guess I am gonna be sharing that actually, because what's wrong with it? There's no need to be perfectionist always. I found out that if you start doing something, everything will get better, believe me. But if you just think and try to make the idea bigger and bigger and bigger, firstly, you are not going to be able to do it because the idea you have is too much perfectionistic. And secondly, because you still want to upgrade that idea into something better. So definitely, this is the best thing that you can do by just starting something and then making it better. Like my podcast, I started even worse than this, and now I'm trying to upgrade it. And I hope it will be so much better later, which I am kind of sure will be, depending on how I know myself and feel about everything right now these days. Because these days, everything have worked well for me. And I hope things work well for you too. Without further ado, let's just, begin to describing our today's topic, which I said is going to be about desires. Oh, desires. We can look into desire and see it for what it is, not a wild stallion, but a tamed horse owned by someone else, led to the market with our eyes covered. Adrian Rich. We always want more. We want more things, more properties, more good feelings, more chances, and a lot of other things. And at first, it feels like ambition, like drive. But over time, it starts to feel like grief. And we don't even know during this time what we have lost. Definitely, it all started from childhood messaging, beginning with you have to get good grades. We had to compare ourselves to others in the school, and others actually compared us too much with others, starting with gradings and a lot of things like that. When we did something wrong, the school told us that we should be like someone who is more controllable, and they called our families, the families talked to us, and it all started from there. And after that, we learned we have to win more. We have to be like this person, be like that person. We have to get good grades as others do. We have to become a doctor. Maybe, sometimes families are really insisting on you becoming something when you're a child. Most of them like you to be a doctor or maybe, overall someone who will definitely going to get a great salary as he or she grows up. After that, as you grew up a little bit more, you started to think, if I had X, I will be happy. Or if I had this, that particular thing will happen. And you just grew up like that. All of us just did. And this was humiliating to us, and we didn't realize that. Of course, there is a sense of competition, which is good and which keeps us to be improving, but there are, of course, a lot of downsides to it. And today we, kind of reflect on it a little bit. However, the horizon always moves as we walk toward it. And even if we get the thing we want, the peace is brief. You see, we try too much to get something and we waste our time trying to compete in the wrong way, and we just waste our days, our youth, and we pass days in the wrong way. Then the thing that we are going to achieve is not going to fulfill us. Have you noticed that whatever you have done and you got the result, it didn't fulfill you too much? And even if it fulfilled you fully, it was for a brief time, because after that you again start to feel desire about something else. So that's a common thing. We all have experienced it, definitely. And you have to be aware of what you are losing over the other thing. That is your whole life that you're losing over a simple desire, which is not too important. I guess this is right what Seneca says. Seneca says that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. The things I have just mentioned may have been a little bit unclear, but I will describe everything so you will know exactly what I mean. It is a little bit related to capitalism. We see a lot of people are trying too hard to make a good body. So we want to make a good body too. It doesn't matter if it is for attracting girls or is it for health. We need to go to the gym and try to build our bodies just to show off, even if we don't understand, just to keep up with others and just to not be behind anyone. Because if it was for health, we could have, done some martial arts, actually do something great for our health by running or these things. But everybody is going to the gym and starting to build their body. Really, if you reflect on it, just for showing off and just for not being kept behind. So that was just a brief thing that I said. And right now we are going to go and see um, um, what exactly I meant. Well, Zizek says it comes from capitalism. He says capitalism is not simply an economic system, but a system of desires and fantasies. He says that we are always bombarded by the message that next purchase or next achievement equals happiness or peace or success. But as soon as we get something, we are shown the next product or the next desire or the next goal. So this is obviously something that is related to capitalism. If you ask from me too, these are everywhere on advertisements or maybe on social media. We always try to check social media, and there is definitely someone and maybe a lot of people that we follow, that we see every day and every night on Instagram or TikTok, that, they are showing their good body, or maybe they are showing their Porsche, or maybe they're showing their Rolls Royce, Mansory cars, and, motivational speeches that are seeming stupid if you look at them closely. Don't judge me. I watch those inspirational and motivational videos myself. I myself follow those people and I know I am there, but that doesn't mean I don't get it, because if you look at it, it is really stupid. And this is not a fault of people. It's not a fault of them showing their good car. Of course, it's good to see good things. I live in a country in which right now people are mostly poor, and if you look at somewhere, you are definitely gonna see something that makes you sad and destroys your good mood. And this is definitely good for me to come on Instagram and see something positive, see a good mansion, a great house, a great art, great body, to, become motivated to work on myself and to know and be reminded of the good things that exist out there and try to achieve them. But you should definitely be aware of the system behind it, and you shouldn't let it control you. You should just use it for your own benefit and then let it go. Let me give you a very personal example. When I was in vocational school, I got familiar with the adult videos, and we weren't taught the sexual stuff in the school, but I just began to get familiar to the adult videos that exist on the internet, and I started to watch them. And of course, I'm not going to go into details, but I had my time with it. I passed a lot of time there doing those things, pleasuring myself, and I really desired to have a girlfriend, which took me a lot of time to get in a relationship with a girl and experience those things. But guess what? This was my most important and my most mind blowing desire that I had for many years. And when it happened to me, when I did have actually a sexual relationship with a girl, I thought that I could stop watching those things and maybe I can end all of it because I was exhausted by watching those videos, of course. And I saw the only way to get rid of it as a girlfriend. And when I had that and when I did those things, I found out that, oh, this was not. Then I started to, think about maybe threesomes, but this was a real fact. And, you are always are going to be having desire after desire, even if the capitalism doesn't control you. You as a human being always experience this. You are ambitious, of course, and definitely. Even if you are a lazy person who doesn't have hope, you are going to get a lot of desires during each day. And you have to be able to manage those desires and choose the ones that help you, actually, and for real over time. There are Instagram ads, there are TikTok videos, there are YouTube videos that always show us and feed us with images of more, images of wealth. Uh, I mean, what's the reason for all of us to have a very big mansion and to have 80 cars, 80 luxurious cars? What does it gonna change? Let's be honest with ourselves. We need great food, we need great house, we need great car, but having 80, 90 houses and having too much money, not knowing what to do with it, what is going to solve for us? Why does every one of us right now in this era want to be someone like Elon Musk? Believe me, we are not gonna want to be him because he's smart. We all like to be him because he's so rich, because he is having a lot of companies, because his words are impactful. Why do we all need too much power and too much money necessarily? So please be honest with yourself. There is a softer part of it. Many people we can see on YouTube or again Instagram or whatever place that they talk about self-improvement. They talk about meditation and these things, which is really good and I'm a fan of. But they talk about reinventing yourself, seeing what the new you is. And with whatever Hollywood film you watch, you are going to want to, reinvent yourself and become someone like evil, or you want to be someone like a good person. You always want to change yourself, and that is okay. It is great to reinvent yourself and find out who is your real good personality that you like and is great, but only if you can achieve it. Have you ever even once achieved one of the reinventions? If you want to change and reinvent yourself every month to a different person, that's going to be 12 different personalities a year that you are going to experience. And believe me, you have tried to, and you have not achieved even one. So it is okay to change and reinvent yourself or, get a great mansion if you just stick to one need and one goal at least. If you want to be honest with yourself, you will definitely see that you are just wanting and wanting and wanting more, that you cannot even achieve one of them, and you just keep up with creating new ideas and desires for yourself. And this is not your fault. We all have these problems right now because the media is making us, this is forcing us, and we have no control over it. Absolutely no control. Currently, most of us don't. I'm not sure about you, but I know I haven't. So, what is enough when everyone is performing luxury? Even Elon Musk is hungry for one more dollar or one more thing to do. So, desires are everywhere, and you are the person who has to be in control of them. Of course, you have heard it that they asked Rockefeller how much money is enough. And he said that just one more dollar. And so this is a fact that you can see. Desires are the things that can be really dangerous and controlling. So let me pause for a second and ask you for a favor. I would really love it if you just subscribe to my channel and podcast series so we can, all improve together. We can always talk about this stuff. Maybe in a part of the day, you can feel a little bit rested by watching or listening to my podcast. And maybe we can all improve together. I do hope that this podcast will fulfill your desires because this is the main thing that I really want deep down from my heart. And I do really appreciate it if you are with me on this road, and maybe we can all change things together for the better. Why do we feel desire? Is it to remind us we are alive? We walk down the street and someone says, I want. Like a song stuck in the head, like a child tugging your sleeve. And we answer, yes, maybe later, always later, until there is no later left. Stephen Dobbins. So this brings us to the next part. Anxiety from not keeping up with the desires we have is the emotional cost of wanting more and more. We even experience depression when all the desires we have feel unreachable because we create too much desires for ourselves and we are not going to be able to keep up with those different, multiple, various desires we have every day. If you count them, you are gonna see that each day you are making a lot of desires for yourself. The more desires we have, the more unreachable they feel, because even if all of them feel reachable, when we have all of those together, then most of them are gonna feel unreachable again. It brings us envy, exhaustion, and loneliness. This way, we don't ever feel worthy of having rest or having fun. And again, as I said before, it's the cost of it. We are wasting our youth, our days, our nights, and we are wasting a lot of good experiences, a lot of great things as human beings that we can have, and we are losing them only because we just want to be someone like Elon Musk. There is no need to be like that, and we have to save ourselves because no one is going to come for us and save us. I don't know, I feel a little bit exhausted right now because of the lights, maybe because I have kind of awful lights here, and I guess that's because of it. So excuse me if I, am changing my tone a little bit and if I'm seeming, different. I had a chocolate, so I guess, I was feeling down because my body needed some sugar. I do need some sugar too, because considering all my desires, what's better than a sugar? Sugars are great in this era that we have too much desires. When I entered my university, I was the best one and I became the best one in drawing and this stuff. Because I study animation, if you don't know, and if you haven't listened any other episode from this podcast before, I study animation. When I entered my university, I tried hard and I became the best artist among all the other people that were there. I mean, I don't mean just the best one among all, but one of the best. And I could feel the best one among them. Guess what? I didn't feel even one person happy because of being the best, because I wanted to be the best among every person on this planet. This is what comes with the desires and the big desires that we get from the media and capitalism. it is the same in all aspects of my life. Everywhere in my life, my desires are like this, and they always take me down when I think that they are making me improve. And that is why, from the first episode of this podcast, we have been describing perfectionism, loneliness, and these other things, because these types of desires have always made me feel lonely, made me feel behind from others, and it gave me the sense of envy, and being perfectionist had destroyed me. And this beast called desire had always made me feel sad and lonely and kept me even behind others while I felt is doing otherwise. It even stopped me from being happy. It made me like the unhappiness. It made me feel that being not happy is better because I thought that I am improving and others are not. So, from your point of view, what is enough? Can you actually name one thing? What do you really need to feel truly safe and whole? Overall, enough is not the end of ambition, it is the beginning of freedom. So let's discuss some ways to stop desire from controlling us, and so we can finally keep the control in our hands. And then we will be the one who is controlling. Well, first, the less you want, the more you have. Because simply, as I said before, when you desire fewer things, they feel more reachable. Therefore, you can actually achieve them, not, being drowned under the desires and different wantings that you have. Epicures distinguishes three types of desires. Well, first one is the desires that are necessary and natural, like food and water and this stuff. And then, secondly, there are the desires that are unnecessary and natural, like the good food, like a good quality water, the clothing, and this stuff. And the third type he describes is vain desire, which is about craving wealth or power or fame. He believes that only the first one is achievable because the other ones are not achievable due to the fact that the more you have them, the more and more you want after that. The Stoics proposed a virtue called moderation, which includes self control. So, in that type, we only let desires serve us, and we only let the pleasure serve us only the times we want, and we choose to let them serve us. Another way we can take control and stop desires from hurting our lives and our minds and our soul um, is being thankful. When we are thankful of what we have, we don't think and we don't believe that we are certainly and necessarily in need of something more. When we can actually have the mobility stuff and features, and we can like easily go to our grandma's house, we don't crave a great car when we are thankful, because the main thing that is here and that is existing here is us being able to move to another place and see our families. So we have that thing, and that wish of ours is happening. So, thankfulness is another key point that we can consider. So, thankfulness doesn't mean that we have to be grateful for our poverty, not important and not useful stuff, but it simply means we can appreciate the ability and things that we have already in our lives. So the desires of more things would not bother us. Therefore, they don't make us anxious. So the next thing that really helps us gain this maturity is by simply understanding the price we are going to pay for having something. Being aware of the price you pay for something really lets you see what you're losing over another thing. So the bigger the desire, the more price you have to pay and the more sacrifices you have to make for it. Let's say you want to have $1 million watches or $1 billion houses. So to have a very great watch, which is $1 million watch, you have to sacrifice your whole youth, a lot of years, and doing extremely hard work for getting a great salary, and therefore you can one day buy a $1 million watch. So what are you sacrificing over this? Over a watch that you can buy by, $100. Well, I am not personally against trying and having the best quality stuff, but paying for the brands is something that I kind of don't like. Well, we might pay for Apple instead of Xiaomi, which is a Chinese brand for mobile and technology stuff, because of the quality that it is providing us. Of course, with the watch, this is the same too. But when we are trying to buy a cell phone, we will get so much better performance by paying more for the Apple rather than a, bad brand thing, because there are a lot of things that the bad brand cannot do. However, when we are talking about watches and we want to see the time, there is not much more if you pay so much for a brand. Of course, there are going to be arts and other things involved in this, but mainly it's not about it. So I'm just saying that we have to be aware of these prices that we pay. So you have to see, are these worth working like a dog your whole life? But personally, I disagree with some of these, because I believe that if you don't try enough and hard while you're young, then later in life, as a mature person, you are not going to be having a lot of options because you haven't worked enough and you have passed your time doing nothing. So don't get me wrong about this whole topic that we had today. I just meant realizing the prices we pay for the things we get. Well, if you are really enthusiastic about watches, that's great for you. You need to have the best watch ever, but not in everything and every different area. I personally appreciate great things, of course, too. However, price is what matters more. So again, after all, you need to find balance here too. What if you stop chasing the horizon and lay down in the grass beneath your feet? What if you close your eyes and saw that you were already home? So here we come to the thing that Derek Walcott said. He wrote, "Give back your heart to itself, to a stranger who had loved you all your life." Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and the frame fades, but the feeling stays. Why not stop wanting? Why not accept that the boat's gone? The train's left, the buses departed. Desire's only fuel is absence. We keep the fire stoked with what we cannot have. Stephen Dobbins.